myself, there were
Go ahead.
people in the old meeting. I don't know if they're all leaving and coming back to this one.
Hopefully I sent, did you happen to notice any of the names?
Dan was there.
Who was?
Fran.
Oh, good. Dan and Fran, so hopefully.
Who else was there? Kristen, you were there.
I was there.
Sorry.
I know, Sheila came running down, she's like, Kristen's on the phone. I think it was because last month's wasn't our regular scheduled, and this is a reoccurring event, so when Zoom, when it was edited, I'm not really sure, but hopefully Dan and Fran find their way, because I sent the new link to everybody. So we'll go ahead and get started because we're starting late, and I want to just apologize to everyone. I just got a flurry of emails this morning and last night. We've got 2 dentist appointments, a conference, and 2 unexpected meetings that came up for Jim and for Wayne. So we're not probably going to have a quorum. We're not. It's going to be like today. Hopefully Dan and Fran find their way back, but so had I known that,
I can forward them the email if you want.
they
Or you
should've-
probably sent it already.
I did. I sent it to everybody. They're committee members. They're in that group. So
Oh, I see.
I think hopefully they'll check their email. It'll just take them a second. I don't know that I have it. Oh, here comes Trisha. I don't think I have a text number for either of them. You know what I'll do, since they're committee members, Julia, because we're recording this and I always post your slides. We will, hey Trisha, we will, why don't we go ahead and switch the agenda to have you start while I try to contact them, and then I'll just do my reports at the end. Is that good?
Okay, that's fine.
All right, so let's see, Liz is, well, either way, for those of you who don't know Julia, she is the brains behind Explore Washington, and the design, all that goes with that. So she comes to the EDC twice a year to sort of let us know how the website is doing and all of the other social media platforms and PR work that they do for the town. So this will be her report to the EDC. And just so you know, that she also does a lot of other work with, we're working on the postcard. She designed the welcome center layout and everything. So she knows our town well and has done a lot of work for us. So I'll just turn it over to you, Julia.
Great. All right, thanks. Let me just share my screen. Yeah. if you could
Let me
just-
make sure you can do that. Yep.
Okay. All right, thanks. Let me just find it. And I'll just go to the beginning. Everybody can see the slide. Okay.
Yes.
Great.
Great.
So every time we do a little bit different presentation depending on what's high on the agenda, but this time what we're going to do is we're going to start with some of the press mentions and CT visit and some of the other articles that have been promoted, and then we'll do the metrics in part 2. So maybe folks can join by the time we get to part 2. And feel free to stop me if you have any questions as we go through. So the most recent mention was on News 12 Connecticut. They did a feature on road trip close to home and visited Hollister House, and that was a really terrific feature and timely. So that was a good one, and I believe that the reporter will be coming back for the farmers market, right, Michelle? I think she said that.
I think that's what she said, the farmers market, yeah.
So, of course, we invited her to visit as many events or happenings around town. And so this was a good one, very good reach. They have 56,000 followers on their social media. So so we can expect a bump on the website because of this, and hopefully visits as well. Another good one recently was CT Insider picked New Preston as one of 7 cute villages and hamlets in Connecticut to explore this spring. And what was great about this is they linked to a lot of the businesses in town. There was a long article. This is just a little capture of it. So that was a good one. That was published in mid-April. And then we pushed that out on social media, and that got picked up really well. It had 548 likes on Instagram, which is one of our highest post likes, which is pretty high for a regular organic post, not an ad. And it got 4,000 impressions, so that fed into 4,000 streams on Instagram. A lot of people shared it, so there were 46 shares, 38 people bookmarked it. So this is an all-time favorite, and we had several slides and several images in the carousel. So what we like to do is whenever there's press, we leverage it and get the word out, so that everybody shares it with their followers and friends. There was an online story on something called Getaway Mavens, things to do in Washington and the area. And that was another long piece, had several mentions around town. And then this was a great one, Travel and Leisure. They have 6.3 million followers. And it was 19 weekend getaways from New York City. So they recently refreshed this article. I'm not sure if it was a brand new one. Sometimes they take articles from the archives and refresh them, but this one had good reach as well. And then this was another of our Gilmore Girls links. So this is a travel site, and they focus on, you can see the areas at the top: New York City, Florida, California, Las Vegas. That was just some of their latest stories. And this was a 3-day itinerary for the Gilmore Girls. And they have almost 60,000 followers. So this was this, and you'll see later on when we go over the numbers, how high the clicks were over to the Gilmore Girls stories on the website. And then this was a nice one we caught in, because our last presentation was mid-October, and this was done right after that. And CT Visit partnered with an influencer or a couple who travel around the world, and they went up to Mount Tom Tower and posted about it. So this influencer has 375,000 followers. So this was a good link and view to have. And then we continue, of course, on Discover Litchfield Hills whenever we do a story that's relevant, which is just about all the stories we write. We push it out on Litchfield Hills. So we have 41 stories on there. CT Visit is going strong. We get a lot of incoming traffic from CT Visit, and we refresh the profile for the town every season. They like us to like everyone to refresh early so that they could use images and have access to stories. So we try to do that as soon as we can each quarter. And then the landing page we're well represented on the landing page on CT Visit for Litchfield County, Litchfield Hills. So recent features they did a Mother's Day feature. They featured Hopkins Inn in Preston. They did several features about Hollister House, which is great because that's a great destination for a day trip. And so we have a lot of overflow when people come up to the garden. And then, of course, go shopping, eating in town. And then this was a great one they did at the beginning of the year, events not to miss in 2023, and they profiled the Shad Festival. So that's always a popular event, and it does get a lot of traction online. They also did a holiday shopping feature to support local, and they pulled this right off of Explore, the image. They linked to a story we did about shopping local, and they actually link out to a bunch of businesses as well. So this is a great one. I think their visitors, I don't have the exact number with me, but it's in the millions in terms of how many, several million visitors a year from around the world. And then CT Visit was promoting the James Beard Award. Community Table was a finalist in the chef category. So this was a good post that they did recently. It got 1,500 likes, so I'm sure I can't tell what their reach is because you can only look at your own account's reach. But with 1,500 likes, I'm sure it was a huge reach for this piece. And then, so we took a look at the events calendar too, because obviously we do events all the time. That's like one of the engines of the site and the heart of the site. And we're up to over 4,000 events published. So that's quite a lot. It comes out to like two events a day, every day of the week, all year, or 60 events a month. So it really shows the magnitude of how much content we're putting on the events calendar. And then on social, we just took a look at some of the highest posts in the last few months and how far those likes and posts reach. So you get a sense of how many people are reached by something as simple as an Instagram post. So the recent one we were just talking about, New Preston, that got over 4,000. The holiday in the depot and the lights, the photos, we always say that anything with Christmas lights always does really well. So now the depot is looking gorgeous. So when we try to take advantage and leverage that, because that gives over 3,000 reach for a simple Instagram post. So talking about really a bang for buck, you know, these are organic posts. They're not, we didn't do paid posts. We rarely do them. We rarely need to. Every now and then for an event, we were just talking about helping out the WBA with the community block party. And we did a post last year. We did some paid ads for the Harvest Festival, which is a very popular event on its own. So that really got a lot of reach last year. But anyway, this gives a flavor. You know, we're always going up higher in terms of how many likes and reach and the reach we get, which is terrific. There's a lot of traction, a lot of new followers. And then in terms of the overview of social media, so yesterday we hit 4,000 followers. And then when I was doing the PowerPoint, it went up to 4,002. So we've had a pretty big increase over the last 7 months. Since I'm doing 7 months because we're kind of reporting in the middle of the year. We're not doing year to year. So we just try to keep track of the rate at which we're gaining new followers. And then we're reaching 15,000 shares. And what that is basically is when folks tag their Instagram post with hashtag Explore Washington CT. It streams into the homepage of the website. It also exposes all of their followers to Explore Washington, and it basically gets the word out there. So that's a pretty substantial amount of people who are tagging. And not everyone is doing it in a commercial way. You know, of course, the businesses and the restaurants tag, but a lot of residents and tourists and just people around town tag their posts so that they can share it. And it's great because it just keeps building on the knowledge and people's awareness of Washington and Explore Washington. On Facebook, we have over 1,500 followers. And then the MailChimp, which is the e-news platform, we send out an e-newsletter every month, which does a summary of what's going on the coming month, as well as features some blog posts and some news, like new businesses that have opened, and special announcements. And our open rate, which is sort of like a good way to measure the success of these campaigns, is 58%, which is huge. It's an 8% increase from last time, but it's way above the industry average for tourism. So, you know, sometimes you worry when your list gets bigger that you may lose some traction and lose some people, and people will be like, oh, it's that email again. But I think because of the content in it and the way that we don't inundate people with messaging they don't need, we have a really good rate of open, 58%. Any questions so far? We're about halfway through, so.
I have one question. Is it the MailChimp, is that from the emails that we get when we ask at different events if they want to get the First Selectman's newsletter? Is that the same link?
Well, there's two different emails. We do a monthly this month in Washington, and it comes from Explore Washington. The selectmen send out an email every week, every Friday. So Michelle, you may know, which I know when Michelle's at the events, she collects for Explore.
And
Right?
Kristen's helped me at those events, which is, and Tricia as well, which is much appreciated. The list, the MailChimp list is coming from the selectmen's list that we add to, but we only download it because it's really cumbersome. I think every 6 months to capture the new emails, because I think is it Kathy? Well, that we do that for the newsletter. And I think she shares, I'm not sure, Julia, actually, if we've done that recently where we've updated. Because what I do when I send the welcome letters home to all the new residents, I collect emails for the selectmen's email and for the Explore monthly, and I enter those in manually onto their website. So maybe we don't actually share that one with the monthly. We share it for the quarterly newsletter. That's what it is. Yeah.
So it's a slightly different audience too.
Yeah, slightly
and I know,
different.
Michelle, you've been adding a lot as new people move to town, new businesses. So I know you've been adding to it. There's some overlap. Some people get both the monthly and the selectmen's weekly. And we often receive requests from organizations for both, you know, so that Jim can get his out, Amanda gets it out on Fridays. So we get it out to both audiences. Our audience, I would say, is community and tourism. So we have a lot of people on the list who wouldn't necessarily care about, you know, renewing their dog license, but they do want to know what's going on in town if they're planning to come up or planning a trip. But we do use Facebook also for a lot of the community announcements. So a lot of times when Jim has an announcement, so there's overlap, but not to the point where anyone's opting out.
I just was curious if it was the same list.
Yeah. It's a subset, I would say. Yeah, I'm not sure how many Jim has on his list, but that's a
I
good
think you have
question.
more, because yours is the tourism one, so you've got, like when we're collecting emails at the Harvest Fest, and we've got people from New York or wherever, they often will sign up for Explore, but not the selectmen's email, which is the weekly
Right.
local, right? So, because I think for the selectmen's, we're just around 2,000. So, so yeah, they're two lists, but we do sign up for both when
Right.
we're collecting those emails.
Great. Right, because the assumption, especially at the town festivals, is that if folks are going to those festivals, they'd be interested in getting the monthly e-news where they could find out about what else is going on around town. Now, this is a big slide. We're not going to have to read it, but basically, Michelle likes to see, and we like to keep her in the loop on some of the inquiries that come in through Explore Washington. And you know, we've had everything and a lot of fun ones in the past. Like, I'm thinking of moving to Washington. What can you tell me about it? Or, you know, some really wild, sometimes we get very wild emails that are, you know, we're sort of like the concierge, you know, and we find, if we don't know the answer, we find the answer for them. But a recent one that was really great that we were talking about, I shared with Michelle, is these friends in Florida and Louisiana who happened to be at the Harvest Festival last year because they were in Kent, and they wrote because they want to plan their trip around the Harvest Festival. So we thought that was a great one. So Michelle immediately got us the information about when it was going to be, and then we wrote back to them, and so they're very excited about that. But just the fact that people would plan their journey based on that event, I thought was pretty telling about the quality of the event and the community in general. Then we get a lot of inquiries about, like, is there going to be lobster this year? So though that was a good one, because then we were able to find the information over the weekend and get it in the e-newsletter in time, so that no one would miss out on the, you know, what is it, the Lions Club.
I think it's the Lions, yeah.
And then the tree lights, someone was just raving about the town and how beautiful it was last winter. They're from Farmington, and they were at a concert at the gun school, and Michelle was able to find the information about where to buy the lights, so that people were just so appreciative. But what I loved is she said, your lights are so much nicer than the lights in the other towns, and just on and on. But it's always fun to get these inquiries, because, you know, people are so tuned in to how special Washington is, and we really enjoy seeing what people have to say. But a lot of inquiries are about events. You know, I bought tickets, how do I pick them up? And then we have to figure out what tickets they're talking about, because a lot of times Explore Washington gets found first in Google searches. So they come to us. And as I said, it's sort of like being a concierge. We have to figure out what event they're talking about and get them the information they need. Yeah. So Holiday in the Depot, I'm just gonna segue into that, because last time we talked about the Harvest Festival and how successful that was and the promotion for it. And for Holiday in the Depot, we don't pay for ads. We do organic posts, you know, just regular posts. And we reached 2,700, over 2,700 people just through this post, letting everybody know about the Holiday in the Depot. And then the traffic leading up to an event like that, you know, over 7,500 page views in the week leading up to Holiday in the Depot. So you could see how the events calendar really is one of the big engines and drivers of people to the website. It's a resource that they use all the time. Yeah, and then traffic sources. So organic search is 53% of the visits to the website are coming from organic search. So that means people are searching something. It could be a venue or an event or something about the town, and then Explore Washington comes up for them. After that is direct, which means they're typing in Explore Washington CT and they're coming right to the site. And then the third is referral, the third largest. And that's when it Explore, the link to Explore Washington is on someone else's website. So I think last time you wanted to see who's referring traffic to Explore. So we did a list of where the top referral websites are coming from. So of course, from the town, the gun school, CT Visit, which is great because they have millions and millions of visitors. Hollister House. And so some of the organizations, and Fran, thank you, Hickory Stick Bookshop, people are coming because they see the link or they're planning their day in town and they want to see what else to do. So what we recommend is, you know, reaching out and just reminding people to put the link on their website, so that, you know, a lot of, you know, whether it's the schools, the way Frederick Gun School did, I don't see anything coming from Rumsey or any of the other schools in town. But, you know, everyone from the realtors to the nonprofits really should have something on their website that says coming to visit, or visit here, visit us, and then just have a link to Explore, where they know that they can find what to do while they're in town. And I know now, yeah.
I was just wondering, are those listed in order of?
Yes.
No. So the highest is the town website?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Okay, good.
What's that?
I'm surprised that the town website is actually higher than CT Visit, for example, which has millions of people, but that just means that they're searching Washington, finding the town, and then looking for events by going to Explore.
And you have Explore listed in several places. I know it's right on the homepage in a couple of places. So, you know, I think there's a blurb and a logo that says, you know, if you're coming to town, this is our tourism site. And then so a lot of people click over from there. Same for the gun school and Hollister House. They
Right.
actually have a tab, you know, for when people are coming to visit. So that makes sense. But even if folks just put it on their homepage, that would be great. And now that you have the Arts Council or Arts Committee, that may be something that you can share with them.
Well, and I'll just quickly mention too, I was just at a meeting in Torrington this morning of the economic development for the Northwest COG. And they're going to start putting more money into promoting Discover Litchfield Hills, but I'm glad to see that it at least made the list. So that between NCT Visit as well, both the, you know, tourism, the tourism board in Connecticut has been putting a lot of money into CT Visit and promoting that. So I'm glad to see that those are working, and it's people are going there and finding their way back to us. So that's encouraging.
Right. And with Discover Litchfield Hills, it's mainly coming because every time we create a blog post on Explore, we submit it to Discover Litchfield Hills so that they will publish it. So there's a submission form. So they're coming back to, well, I wouldn't say back, but let's say they find that content there, they're getting directed back to Explore to learn more. So that's a good thing to do. But in that case, we have to submit the information every time we write a story. It doesn't come there automatically. Maybe, you know, they do have links to the different towns, so it is possible that people can click on the link to Washington and get there. So, and yeah, and Posh Pads, which is in town, we get a lot of visitors from there, as well as Steep Rock. So ideally, if all the realtors, I mean, the realtors typically love the website and they send it to people in emails sometimes, so that they can learn about the community before they purchase a home there or as they're looking. So yeah, there's a lot of potential for expanding this. And it really is beneficial for the nonprofits too, because then if someone is planning to go, say, to WA for a gallery opening or to see a show, an art show, they can also see all the other things there are to do in town. So I think it would help to promote each individual organization as well as the town at large.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So we have more good news every time we present. We have our highest month ever, so it's always good to see that it's always going up. Before this, our highest month in terms of page views was the previous October, it was the August of 2022. Now we're up to the highest monthly ever is October of 2022. October is usually a good month because of the Harvest Festival and all the different, you know, the leaf peeping stories that we publish. And, you know, it's just a good time for tourism in general. And there's a lot of events going on around town. So October is a good month, but it is up 23% from the previous October. So that's also a very healthy sign. And then what we did was we compared the period from the last time we presented, so it was October through the end of April, so that we could have full months. And we compared that to the prior October to April. And we had a 29% year-to-year increase in visitors. So the blue line that you see, this is a daily, that's why you see so many sort of spikes on that line. That blue line is the more recent, and orange is the previous period. So that's a pretty big increase from year to year. So it seems to be every year up in the 30% range, which is a lot and great. So we're constantly getting new visitors. And then the other number highlighted in yellow there is 81% new visitors. So that means lots of new people discovering the website, you know, and of course people coming back and checking on events and seeing what's going on around town, but that there's this constant flood of new visitors to the website.
Great.
And then everyone loves this is the top, where are they going? You know, what are they looking at? What are the top pages when they get to the website? So I think for the first time, the Gilmore Girls Getaway, which is an itinerary, we have various, in addition to blog posts and stories, we have itineraries like romantic weekend, art and culture getaway, things like that. And Gilmore Girls is one of the getaway itineraries. And it almost increased, it did increase 100% from the year before. So we have that page is getting hit almost twice as much as the homepage, which is amazing because typically on a website, the homepage gets hit the most, but it's just showing the popularity of Gilmore Girls. And a lot of the stories that I didn't even, mention in today's presentation are on blogs or by influencers or young ladies who are really into the Gilmore Girls. And they share the link to the website and to the stories. So we have a few stories. We have a guide, we have a couple of guides, we have the itinerary, and of course the other content that's important, the events, things to do. It's good to see that at number 6 is the restaurants, number 7 is the shopping. So that's really good to see those always in the top 10. And if you don't know, we have every restaurant has a page, every business every shop has a page. So people are clicking on those pages. The Mayflower, of course, comes up high, but that's good to see because they're an international company and it looks like a lot of people are finding Explore Washington when they're searching for Mayflower. So we like that. And of course, we have a link out to all the businesses and out to the hotels and out to the restaurants so that people can find more information or view the menus at the restaurants. Places to stay is also in the top 10. And then the community calendar, which is a more detailed day-to-day calendar. So all healthy things. There's a story about Lake Warramug that is always very popular, and it's probably, I'm not sure if their own website gets found. So they're finding Explore. And then plan your visit, explore the 5 villages. So those are more of the sort of tourism, people coming to visit, and this sort of guides them around with the map and shows them how to get around town. So I'm trying to think. Oh, the Harvest Festival is in the top 20. That's a big one, as is Holiday in the Depot. So Family Skate is popular. So little things that are community events are also very popular and come up high up. So the Gilmore Girls is still going strong. So then last October, I guess we closed this giveaway right after we presented last time, so we didn't have the numbers in yet, but we did a fun giveaway for 5 Janes. Has a lot of promotional items that have to do with Gilmore Girls, so we did a basket and we did a giveaway on Instagram. So basically people had to enter to win. They had to tag their friends, and so this became just a really big thing. So we had over 5,000 people reached, and again, there was nothing, we didn't pay for any ads for this. It was just because people were sharing with all their friends. And someone in, I believe it was Pennsylvania, won the gift, and we mailed it out to her. So this was very popular, and this also probably has to do with all the clicks onto the Gilmore Girls content on the website. And I would think this would be a fun thing to do also around Harvest Fest time, to also cross promote and get more, not that you need more people, because I think it's like at capacity at this point, Harvest Fest. So this is just a recap of where we are, what's been completed. So since the last meeting, we finished all the fall and winter articles. So we do 2 stories a month that we publish on the site, seasonal, a mix of promoting nonprofits, things to do, businesses, Mother's Day, Father's Day, all kinds of things to get people to town and get people out and about, people who are in town so that they can enjoy all there is to offer, as well as getting people from surrounding areas to come to town. And as Michelle mentioned, we just finished the arts and culture postcard. And there were so many things happening this year that we had to really cram it and do 2 columns on the back now. And each year, it's interesting to see how that's growing, just in terms of the summer events, the big summer events that are happening. And then the Welcome Center has been installed. We'll probably do a story about that, Michelle, on the site so that people know that it's there for when they're visiting town. And then we did, in January, we did a marketing seminar for EDC and WBA, and we helped them with ideas for social media and promotion. And we started, last fall, we started a photo contest, because we always need new material. We always need beautiful images for social media, because those are the ones that get shared, and that's what gives us the biggest reach. So we came up with this idea to reach out to folks and do a contest. And some of the businesses, I believe, are donating gift certificates to the winners. And Michelle is planning, and I think it's a great idea to do a photo exhibit at the end, you know, with the 4 seasons of photos. And I think that'll be a real fun thing for the community and also for people to come visit. And then ultimately we have material that we can use to help promote the town. One of the challenges, and social media is great because we can share good images that people post as long as we give them credits. But the problem is sometimes they're not high resolution, and every now and then we're approached by the State Tourism Board and they want publication materials that have to be very high res and, you know, perfect to be published in print. So this is a way for us to have a nice library of images that we can use. And everyone who submitted their work gave us permission to use their artwork, their photography. So now we're doing the spring. I think we have several hundred submissions altogether. I have to check the exact number, but we've finished fall and winter. Spring is still open. And then we're going to run the summer photo contest. Yeah, and the next steps are, you know, continuing to do the spring and summer marketing and event promotion and helping out wherever is needed.
Great.
Okay.
That everything. Well, so while you were talking about the photo contest, I'll just quickly mention that the Arts Council is excited to help us with that event, and they want to do an opening evening and help us put it together, which is great because it's a committee of people who've staged shows and done things like that before. So I'm excited about that partnership. And so I'll be talking to you, Julia, about how to get that together. And I also needed to touch base with you because I don't think I've run the spring contest in the selectmen's email recently. I think we did when it first opened. So we'll
Okay.
touch
Great.
base on that so that I can just run that one more time and try to hit the schools again before it closes. Do you remember the due date for that?
I think it's June 15th,
Okay, so
but I'll double check.
Okay, we've got a little.
I'll
time.
send you the information. Yeah, we do need to do a push. I think, you know, fall and winter are very popular, and I think maybe we'll do a push too on the June 1st e-newsletter, as well as on social media.
Right.
Yeah, we've been getting some good response, and we can always extend it because folks have images from 4 seasons. They don't have to go out and shoot. So, you know, we can put it out there. Now we have a great arsenal of talented photographers, both professional and amateur, who we have a rapport with now. So it's fantastic. And they're all happy because this is a way for them to share their work. So I think it's a really feel-good project all around.
It's a great partnership, and it's a wonderful way for us to get the material we need, but then this photo contest to really celebrate the beauty of Washington. I'm excited about that because we've really gotten some amazing photographs. So yeah, it's been the response has been really great so far. I'm excited by that. Does anyone here have questions? I have a few questions and comments for Julia, but I want everyone else to have an opportunity first. any of the,
I have a question.
sure.
We are getting emails when we do get interest and questions like, we are getting those emails and inputting them so we can put them on our mailing list.
And I'm not sure I understand the emails that we're getting, you mean like
Yeah,
always?
The questions that we're getting on the website, are we able to retain the emails from those people who are questioning traveling to Washington?
Well, that's a good question, Julia. When
Yes.
you respond, do you ask if they would like to receive our monthly?
Right, so if they submit through the contact form, we do include them in the list. Because there are two ways for folks to get in touch with us, as well as social media. You know, a lot of times people will ask us questions right through Instagram or Facebook. But if they submit a form on the website, which most of them do, then they can get added to the MailChimp list. So we
Great.
have 2 signups on the website. So those we upload every month before we send out the e-news, as well as any of the other forms, which would be the contact form.
Okay.
Great, that's great.
I
know,
have one other thing.
Go ahead, Trisha.
Thanks. I just came across an app online that converts photos to high res. Is that something you're aware of, Julia?
Yeah, we use that a lot,
Okay.
but it still isn't the quality needed for a
It's
publication.
not perfect, but
Yeah,
okay.
we use it sometimes even just on digital, just to make something a little more crisp.
Right.
But yeah.
Okay,
That's
good. That's all.
great.
That's cool. I didn't know though.
Yeah.
Very neat.
I'll send you
Anyone?
the information, Michelle.
Thank you. Does anyone else have questions for Julia? I just want to just say, first of all, thank you and fantastic work. Having attended, and I know Fran is also on the Western CT Tourism Board, having attended some of those tourism meetings and then the ones in the COG, I know that we're seeing results that are above normal, like beyond, and people are still trying to figure out how to do what Julia and Explore have figured out. So we're very fortunate to have them. And I think little small things like that Gilmore Girls giveaway is, things like that are just brilliant because it's hard to get new followers. You know, the outreach you need to do for that. So you have to be creative, and whether it's a giveaway or it's us standing out there at the Harvest Fest or the community day collecting emails, because we can have wonderful events and create content, but if nobody's seeing it, it doesn't do the job. So it's fantastic that we're continually growing that email list and the Instagram followers, Facebook followers, so that we are, you know, finding our audience. That's wonderful. Thank you, Julia.
Oh, thank you. It's
And
been
just
great.
so everybody knows, Julia always shares the PowerPoint with me, and that will be posted on the town website. And then I will also have the recording of the meeting, so that that's always listed in the minutes. So I'll be sharing that as well.
Okay, great.
So
Michelle, if you don't need me, I'll hop off. It's
sure, that's fine.
It's up to you.
No, I'll touch base with you on the photo contest, but
Okay.
it's good. You can go ahead if you want. Thank you so
Okay.
much.
And I'll send that over right now. Bye, everyone. Good
Thanks,
seeing
Julie.
you. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Julia.
Thanks, Julia. All right, great. Thank you, all for being here. And as always, Julia did a wonderful presentation. Let's see, who do we still have left? We have Tony, Dan, Trisha, Fran. Oh, you know what? That's 5. That's enough. Let's if we can jump back to the top of our meeting, we'll go ahead and approve the minutes of April 25th. And anyone has questions? Comments? Do I have a motion to approve those?
Motion.
Motion.
Thank you. All right, so I've got Trisha moving, Kristen seconding. Comments, questions? All in favor?
Right.
Aye, okay, great. I just wanted to quick just comment, because it was at the last meeting that was the presentation of Pell, that Pell's did about housing, which the link was requested, the recording link was requested and was shared with the subcommittee, a committee that's working, that is a zoning and housing subcommittee that viewed it, as well as it was then shared with the housing commission, and then I put it in the selectmen's email, and it was viewed quite a few times, and I got some inquiries, so a lot of buzz created by that presentation on housing. And also in response to that, I just put, because I didn't have it in my list of reports, but I did meet with Fran and Lisa after that about some of the questions they had about, you know, how the businesses are doing, and this, you know, it was the question was brought up because of the seasonality that we're seeing in our housing, and the continuing growth of second homes in our town, and sort of wondering how that is affecting the health of the town, and in particular our businesses. So we're going to work together to put together some data. We're going to collect, we're going to reach out to all the different sectors and get some hard data on numbers pre-COVID, COVID, and now post, or can we even say post-COVID? I'm not really sure. You know, beyond the worst of the pandemic, I guess. So I will, I'll keep you posted on that, but I feel like there was a lot of great conversation generated by that presentation. All right, thank you. Next on the agenda, just a report, and I'll try to keep it quick because we're here. It's already almost an hour. New homeowner mailings. There were only 3 new homes for April. So we're seeing that slowdown and that lack of inventory that Pels was talking about. For the newsletter is in production right now, goes to design, I think today or tomorrow. We had 25 submissions for the quarterly newsletter this quarter. It has continued to grow. The nonprofits have figured out this is a great way to reach the community, as well as our commissions and departments. So it's really become a great source. You know, last month Trisha helped me put together some guidelines to try to help people keep their word count down, especially people who are listing just numerous events, and it helped a lot. People were they responded to that, and I stuck to it. I sent a few articles back and I said, you went over the limit, see what you can do, and I had them edit it down themselves. So we'll see how layout goes. It's going to be tight, and I know we just had a budget, but we might need to consider adding another page. We'll have to, that'll be a conversation. Summer postcard the proof went to the printer today. The goal is to be in the mailboxes before the Memorial Day weekend. Well, around then, because the first events listed are June. And I just wanted to let everyone know that when the first postcard we did was 2021, and we had 13 events or items listed. And in 2022, we had 19 listings, and this year we have 29 listings. So yeah, we really decided to try to make sure we were promoting all of our arts and culture. So we made sure we listed the museum and the library. So we have all the major events and concerts that we knew of, but we also listed anywhere there was music or any kind of arts and culture type things going on. So a visitor could come into town for a concert, but could, you know, visit Watt and the museum as well, and as they're planning their day. So yes, with some help from the Arts Council and making sure we firmed up all those dates. It was quite an endeavor getting those all on time, but it was great, you know, having conversations with all the different organizations and what their plans were for the summer. So keep your eyes open for that. We also plan to print 1,000 extra. We're going to mail to everybody and then print 1,000 extra I distributed those last year around, at the cafes, and at the market in town, but I also went to Roxbury and Litchfield and Warren and left cards around, and the Arts Council has said that they will help with that as well and try to expand that outreach. So, and I actually had one request from somebody, a realtor in town who does a lot of rentals, requested a stack of cards so that they could share them with people coming to their summer rentals. So great news on that. Next, signs. I just, it's sort of generic there, but I've had several people, mostly business owners, talk to me about improving signage around the depot. So I put together a little committee. Kristen volunteered to help with that, and Zoe from the pantry. The three of us met. We did a little walk around town. One of the things that I feel like we could probably get done relatively quickly, hopefully earlier, is to at least let people know or help mark the parking, the municipal lot back on Titus and the lot behind Town Hall. On farmers market days, people drive up and down the plaza and they don't seem to realize that there's quite a bit of parking behind Town Hall. So we're going to try to help people at least park and see what we can do about some other signage so that people driving through realize that if they were to turn into the plaza, that there would be some shops and food, etc. So we'll keep you posted on that. Welcome Center, the signs are in their final edits, so I will let you know when those go in so that we can schedule an opening for the Welcome Center, hopefully by next month. So that'll be completely finished. Fran is here, so I'll leave off the WBA breakfast and business. I just encourage, so that she can talk about it. I just encourage everyone to attend. They've really been wonderful so far. Block party. So the community block party is June 2nd, first Friday in June. It is a joint event between the WBA and Parks and Rec. I have signed us up for a table. We've done that in the past where we collect emails and we just talk to people about things happening in town. So hopefully I will get some volunteers for people to man that with me. Forget the exact times. It's like 6 to 8, 5:30 to 8, I think are the times. So we'll keep that in mind. And I'll have the regular information, the guidebooks, things that are happening at the time. Hopefully I'll have the summer postcards in hand and the latest newsletter. So that's that for the block party. And if anyone has an idea, fresh idea of something we can give away or a way to collect emails or something else that they feel that we should be doing, that would be great. So think about the block party. Last thing I'll mention is Washington Bike Day. It's an event that has been I've been working on, and it has changed and morphed a few times, but we are looking at June 3rd. It will be the day after the block party. It's a Saturday, set up out in front of Town Hall during the farmers market for a couple of hours. I'm partnering with KC&E Adventures. They're in New Preston, and they're going to let people try e-bikes for free, so just give it a try. Colin, who is the co-owner of the business, has agreed to work with me on a brochure about biking in Washington. It's something we've been talking about for a while. Several conferences I've gone to talk about what a great economic driver that can be to sort of promote biking and day trips for families, for easy ones, harder ones, and let people know where the amenities are, the bathrooms, water, and restaurants, so they can sort of plan a little day around biking. So that's one of the ideas. It's been a challenge to sort of bring it all together, but I've got a flyer in the works, and I'm excited to work on this idea of the biking in Washington brochure. So hopefully we'll be able to get that on paper sooner rather than later. I already mentioned the other meeting. I think that is all for my report. Does anyone have questions on any of the stuff that I've been working on this month?
Michelle, on the Welcome Center, have you seen any increase yet? I know we haven't had the grand opening. Any increase in people going and using the, checking it out and using the restrooms and all that?
No, I'll have to check with Jen Cody, who's over there Monday through Friday. I did speak with Liz. It is Liz Naval, who the owner of 5 Janes, who's opening it on the weekends, which is when I expect there would be like the visitors. Everybody who I've spoken with in person who's gone through has absolutely loved it. And I was expecting some emails of people explaining either something I got wrong or I haven't had anything negative. So I always feel like no news is good news, right? So if people were unhappy, I'm sure I would have heard about that. So, and Julia and I have spoken about how to make sure people know it's there. That the restrooms and the water bottle filler are there. The businesses in the depot know because they direct people there, but I'm often surprised at local residents who don't realize that they can pop in and use the restrooms. So we did do a story in the newsletter 2 issues ago, maybe, I forget, but we'll keep thinking about how to make sure we get the word out. Any other questions for me? All right, Jim is not here. He had a emergency meeting, but I will just say that the town budget, the vote is this Thursday. I believe it's 7:30. So if you're a resident, please come and support the budget. I mean, the money to pay for Explore is a line item in there, and it's important that we continue that work. So I encourage you all to support that. Fran, news from the WBA?
You mentioned, obviously the block party June 2nd is the big thing coming up. And if you haven't attended in the past, please attend this year because it's a lot of fun. And also keep your fingers crossed for warm, nice weather. You mentioned the breakfasts that are happening every month. Dinesh from Iron Bank and Sarah from Washington Home Care are the organizers of that. They occur on the 3rd Monday morning at the pantry at 8 o'clock in the morning, which is the day the pantry is closed. So we thank them for opening for this purpose. And it also makes sense in terms of their schedule. But the programs have been consistently well attended. They've had variety. The first one, I believe, was basically getting the word out about your business in terms of press releases, social media. The most recent one was self-care as a business owner and how you can take care of yourself just through some mostly physical things that you can do to relieve tension and strengthen your body. Marketing is the main function and seems to be the primary interest, but it's also a networking experience. Breakfast is served. It's a $10 breakfast. And it's people are enjoying it, and I expect that attendance will continue to increase.
Agreed. Thanks, Fran. Yeah, it's been wonderful opportunity to learn, but also to meet people, fellow business owners and community members who are interested in coming. So it's been great. I appreciate that. All right. Anyone have questions for Fran? I do hope everyone can make it to the block party. All right. So we flipped our agenda. Our visitors, comments from visitors. I have Matilda is here. For those of you who are online, you can't see. I actually am not sitting alone anymore. Chris, Charles, and Matilda are here. So
So they can't see anything.
Yeah, they can. Do
Oh,
you
they
see,
can.
do you see the little box? Do you see where I'm talking?
Yes, I do.
Yep, and now the little owl knows that you're there too, right?
Good. So I'm here, and first of all, thank you, and to everybody on this committee. I know you're volunteers, but I love what you do, and it makes our town better. And I'm here to talk about one-on-one women, because I have a lot of concern about it. I know you're not a regulatory body, but you have influence. You know, and you make a big difference in what happens around here. I want you to know that neighbors who are opposed to this and are not opposed to economic development. That's essential for our town. We're just opposed to development that's too large and an ill fit aesthetically for this historic neighborhood. We really support smart economic development, but as it is on paper right now, it's not smart economic development. The conditions of the special permit have still not been met. Please use your influence to make sure all those conditions are met. Part of why people come to this town is because it is so beautiful, because it is so lovely. And there's a way that rural and economic development work together in a good way, but that's not what this is. Everybody in our neighborhood was really excited when we knew that there was going to be this beautiful inn coming in. But what we were told isn't what's being planned. I want to show you the size of my house. Can you all, I don't know if you can see that, maybe I should hold it up. This is my house. Here you go. And I'm across the street from 101 Wickham. And this is 1/16 to a foot, 1/16 of an inch to a foot. And this is one of the buildings for 101 Wickham. So there's a huge difference here. This is an average house. And this is one building. And the water system, really, I mean, Aquarium will say, yes, we can provide the water that they need. But what they've asked for is less than the school needed. So there are a lot of behind the scenes changes that, little sleight of hand things going on. And I do want there to be something. I want something beautiful, something that works. That's not this. Now, Erica Flower says she's wanting to provide jobs. But over the last 15 years, she has not hired any local people to clean up that site or to clean up the burned buildings. So to get rid of the burnt out mess would go a long way to helping neighbors feel like she's not just taking advantage of us for her own financial gain. Her actions, or in fact, lack of action, indicate she doesn't really care about the community. We all recognize this hotel or something is going to happen. But I'm here to say, I hope we do the right thing, and please do whatever you can to get rid of that eyesore, but not give us another one, because who would like an abandoned Hampton Inn in the middle of our town? Where are they going to get people to work? Everybody else in town has help wanted signs out. There are not enough people here at this point to make that work. She's been working on this for 15 years. She still hasn't resolved the water issue. She says that they're not now going to be doing any irrigating because they had trouble even having enough water for fire suppression, which they figured out how to do, putting big tanks underground to have water for fire suppression. But in their original plan, they were putting up giant 10-foot trees to buffer the 83 parking places that are along Wickham Road. So when you drive down Wickham Road, you're going to see all blacktop. It's all parking lot with all night lighting. And a tree buffer that now can no longer be irrigated because they won't have water for irrigation isn't going to survive, and at 10 feet tall, it's never going to block the sight line to that parking lot because it's all uphill. So we're in this predicament because of situations that are what they are. We cannot change them at this point legally. But if there's anything you can do to influence what has already been done, I ask your help. And I put together a packet of letters from various people. So there's one of these for everybody on the commission or the committee. How many of you are there that I should leave?
10, 11. Yeah.
I'm leaving 12. just so
Okay.
that we know.
Okay.
And does anybody have questions for me or thoughts about this?
I appreciate you coming, and I know that I often get the question about the compliance because of
Yeah.
economic development. And I have to say that, you know, I was not in this position when this all came in for zoning. And I feel like you and most of the committee here were for smart and appropriate economic development.
Absolutely, you too.
We are not a regulatory board.
I know that.
We can't do any, you know, this is in zoning's hands. And it's gone through the courts and, you know, the conditions need to be met and, you know, I'm hoping that the enforcement is strong enough to make sure that the conditions are met. Because that's what needs to happen legally, right?
Well, that's why I'm here, is because I think that this applicant has a history of not sticking to her conditions. Like, she started working on the stone pillars at the front before she had the right to do that. She made an agreement with everyone that she would not break through the Bell Hill entrance. And then when she wanted to do work, she drove trucks and tree equipment down through there. And our enforcement officer took 10 days after being told that it was happening. Took him 10 days to be able to get there and say, by the way, you're not supposed to be using this road. When she has the right to do something, she does 5 times. That's why it's so big now. Every time she went in, she made something a little larger. And please, if you have any influence, help.
Yeah, so I guess I don't, you know, enforcement's gonna be key on
I
this
know.
and making
I
sure, and so. All we can do, I think, is just ask our leaders, you know, the board of selectmen or whomever that they follow up on the enforcement.
That's really what is
Yeah,
just to say,
so thank you.
please.
So thank you for sharing. We have all been watching this project for years with interest. I know we would all like to see something happen with that property.
It's a mess now. It's been a mess.
It is a mess.
for
It's
a
an
long
eyesore, and I know that has been discussed as well. I don't think we have an ordinance.
That's a surprise, isn't
It
it?
is a surprise.
Have some kind of-
Blight, right? That's the word. Blight. I don't believe we have a blight ordinance, and that might be something that the town should consider. It hasn't really been much of an issue. People taking good care of their properties, so that's also something to think about. Not necessarily the role of our committee, but it is something to think about, whether that's planning or it's zoning or whomever. I guess we could, we'll have to think about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, if it were to come.
Oh, I forgot to show you this. This is the last piece of my presentation. This is downtown Washington.
Oh, yeah, there's the depot.
See that?
Yeah.
But that yellow outline is one of the buildings.
And there are multiple being.
And there
that
are
looks
5
like this.
buildings, and this is that building. But it's the size of all of downtown Washington. It's just phenomenal that this has been allowed. Anyway, thank you for listening.
Thank you for coming.
And thank you for doing it.
All right, do we have any other comments, questions? Concerns? All right, well, thank you all for managing to find the link, and staying to the end. We had a little snafu with the Zoom link. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Dan, look at you with your hands, so quick there. Very well done. All right, 4:18 adjournment. Thank you all very much. Enjoy this lovely day.
Thanks, Michelle.
Thank you.